In today's video, I'll show you all the fun we had on our recent cruise with Royal Caribbean. We did a 5-night cruise from Los Angeles down to Cabo San Lucas and Ensenada on Quantum of the Seas. But this video is not about the ship. It's about what we did during the cruise, both on the ship and ashore. This cruise was a little different than most of my others. There was a lot of karaoke this time. In fact, I'm always going to think of this cruise as the Karaoke Cruise. With December weather starting to turn skies gray at our house and the temperatures getting a lot colder, it was a great time to fly south to Los Angeles for a cruise with Royal Caribbean down to the Mexican Riviera. This is a time-lapse video I shot from the balcony of our cabin as the ship sailed away from what they call the Los Angeles World Cruise Center in San Pedro. And you can see that the weather in Los Angeles was already a whole lot better than what we had left back in Washington State. And the further south we sailed, the warmer it would get. This week, we're cruising with our friends, Jeff and Michelle, and they love karaoke. So right from the get-go, on that very first evening aboard, Jeff showed off his impressive singing and performing skills, doing a fun karaoke rendition of Tony Orlando and Dawn's 1970 hit, Knock 3 Times.
My darling, knock 3 times on the ceiling if you want me. Whoa. Twice on the pipe, if the answer is no.
There were 2 venues that were used for karaoke on Quantum of the Seas. This one you see here is a lounge called Bolero's, and as you can see, the stage lighting is horrible, so these videos from Bolero's look horrible. Sorry about that. But things will get better tomorrow when karaoke moves to a different venue. If you look in the description of this video, you'll find a link to all of Jeff's karaoke performances from this cruise. Michelle likes to sing karaoke too, although she doesn't have a professional singing background like Jeff does, so she doesn't roam the stage and work the crowd like Jeff does. But I appreciated what she did do with this performance of Elton John's Crocodile Rock. Besides karaoke, the other entertainment the 4 of us enjoyed the first night of the cruise was the ship's Welcome Aboard show in the main theater. I was delighted to see that the ship had a live band providing the music. You know, some cruise lines save money by just using pre-recorded music tracks, saving them from having to hire a bunch of musicians. But a live band is way better, I think. To close out the evening, we moved over to the Schooner Bar, which is basically Quantum's piano bar, to enjoy a really nice show by this very talented British singer and pianist. Here's a shot from our balcony the next morning at around sunrise. With our ship traveling south, our balcony didn't face towards the sunrise, so this is not a great sunrise shot, but later in the week, when the ship heads north, they will be. This is a sea day today on our way to Cabo San Lucas. I spent much of the day exploring the ship, and the 4 of us spent quite a bit of time relaxing in the solarium. Almost all the ships in Royal Caribbean's fleet have a solarium of some type, but the design differs quite a bit among the different classes of Royal Caribbean ships. On this class of ships, the Quantum-class, I think the design they used for the solarium beats all the others by a wide margin. It's one of my favorite places on the ship to relax. The 4 of us had lunch in the Windjammer, the buffet restaurant, and then at 3 o'clock that afternoon, they had an afternoon session of karaoke in a much better venue for musical performances than where they had it last night. This space is called the Music Hall, and as you can probably tell by the name, it was designed from the start to be a great place to listen to live music. It also has much better lighting than that cave where they did karaoke last night, so the videos of people singing karaoke here in the music hall end up looking a lot better. Jeff picked out a very special song for his performance today, You Raise Me Up. I'm sure you remember that was a huge hit for Josh Groban back in 2003. Well, my buddy Jeff did a fantastic job with You Raise Me Up. And notice that Jeff doesn't have to stand in front of a video monitor to see the lyrics. Every song he performed this cruise, he had the lyrics memorized, and that freed him up from being stuck behind the video monitor reading the lyrics like most casual karaoke singers have to do. So Jeff was able to roam the entire stage and work the crowd. It was impressive to watch.
You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas.
In terms of both showmanship and vocal performance, I think this was Jeff's best performance of the whole cruise, and he got a huge response from the crowd when he finished. For dinner that night, we ate in the ship's British-style pub, the Harp and Horn, where I had the best thing I ate during the entire cruise, Memphis barbecue pulled pork nachos, which only cost $4. They were incredibly good. On day number 3 of the cruise, we spent most of the morning relaxing in the solarium, and by about 10 a.m., through the windows at the front of the solarium, we could see the southern tip of the coast off in the distance. So Jeff and I stepped out onto the outdoor viewing platform at the front of the solarium in order to shoot some video of it without having to shoot through the glass windows of the solarium. Before long, our ship was making the turn around what's known as Land's End, and everyone got their first look off in the distance of Cabo San Lucas. Cabo San Lucas doesn't have a pier big enough to handle a cruise ship, so our ship anchored outside of the harbor, and then these tenders are used to ferry passengers ashore. The tender ride into Cabo gave me a chance to get this shot of Quantum's bow as we passed by. And then once we got ashore, I was able to launch my drone and fly over to the ship to get the best shots of the ship that I would get during the entire trip. While we're looking at a few of these drone shots, I want to just mention that if you're looking to book a cruise, whether that be with Royal Caribbean or with any other cruise line, I want to ask, have you ever thought of booking through a travel agent? Now, I know most people just book their cruises directly with the cruise line, but there are advantages to having a travel agent working for you. Most importantly, it's good to have someone to answer your questions for you, but also to have a pro do the actual booking for you to make sure that you don't make any rookie mistakes. Now, if you're a frequent cruiser, it's really handy to have a travel agent because once they get all your details for that first cruise, they've got it all on file, and it becomes really quick and easy to have them book all the cruises after that. Ambren Travel is the travel agency I use and recommend. Caitlin Gallagher is the owner. Jill and Stacy are also extremely well qualified. If you book a 7-night or longer cruise in a balcony cabin or better, they'll even print your luggage tags for you, provide you with luggage tag holders, lanyards for your key cards, and an Ambren Travel drawstring bag. Give Caitlin a call or send her an email or just visit her website at www.ambrentravel.com. While I was flying my drone, our friends Jeff and Michelle headed over to one of Cabo's most famous nightclubs, Sammy Hager's Cabo Wabo. Visiting Cabo Wabo in the afternoon, you don't quite get the full experience. The place really comes alive in the evening when there's a band playing, but the four of us had other plans for this evening. At the marina, there are all sorts of bars, restaurants, and shops that you can choose from. If you don't have fun in Cabo, I think you just didn't try very hard. There are lots of fun possibilities in a place like this that caters to cruise ship tourists. Jeff did some research before the cruise, and he recommended a restaurant for us to have dinner at, and it was a fantastic suggestion. The place is called Captain Tony's, and there was a lot that I loved about it, especially the huge menu that they had of both Mexican and American foods. That menu had so many choices that all four of us easily found things that suited our tastes in food. Kellen and I shared some beef fajitas, which we totally enjoyed. They were only $22. Jeff had a fish fillet, and Michelle had the Mexican ceviche. Of course, we all had margaritas. I definitely recommend Captain Tony's if you're ever looking for a great restaurant in Cabo. After dinner, we rode one of the tenders back to the ship, and since this was after sunset, it was fun to see our ship all lit up as we approached. Once we got back aboard, guess what we did for fun that evening? If you guessed karaoke, you are paying attention. It was in the music hall again this time, but tonight it wasn't just ordinary karaoke with a pre-recorded instrumental track. Tonight, the karaoke performers would be singing with the ship's band. And singing with a live band takes a special talent. Frankly, some of the singers weren't up to it, but my boy Jeff sure was. He did a very strong performance of the Eagles hit Hotel California. On the morning of day number 4 of our cruise, we were back at sea, and now we were heading north, which meant our balcony faced the right way to catch the sunrise. At breakfast at the Windjammer, we noticed that overnight they had put up this cool little Christmas display, and I'm pretty sure that all of it was edible. Now, I'm a model train fanatic, so all I could think of as I looked at this was how cool it would have been if they had been able to run some model trains through it. Today, the four of us ate lunch at Chop's Grill, the ship's steakhouse. I had a very enjoyable filet as my entree and the warm chocolate cake for dessert. After lunch, we were back in the music hall for more karaoke. Jeff performed an old Elvis song called An American Trilogy. Here's the sunrise from our balcony on day number 5, the final full day of our cruise. When you're sitting out on your balcony during a Mexican Riviera cruise, always keep an eye on the water for marine life, because there is a lot of it off the west coast of Mexico. This is a spectacular view we had from our balcony as a big pod of dolphins swam over to check out our ship. We were moving along at a pretty good pace to get up to Ensenada, so we outran them fairly quickly. We also saw quite a few whales from our balcony. They weren't as close as the dolphins got, but it was still great to see. This is a time-lapse video of our ship pulling into the port in Ensenada. We're going to come up to a container ship next to a bunch of big cranes that are used for loading and unloading all those shipping containers. It was interesting to watch, but in real time it happens very slowly, so a time-lapse video of it, which speeds the action up quite a bit, makes it a lot more fun to watch. If you'd like to watch a longer version of this time-lapse video of them simultaneously loading and unloading this container ship, just look in the video's description. You'll find a link to it along with all of the karaoke performances. After the sun went down over the port of Ensenada, we had one last karaoke show for this cruise. This time we were back in the very poorly lit lounge, Bolero's. I hope you can overlook the horrible lighting again. My friend Jeff made a crowd-pleasing song choice tonight. He did Neil Diamond's Sweet Caroline.
Sweet Caroline, good times have never seemed so good. I been inclined to believe they never would, but now mine.
And speaking of karaoke, we laughed a lot during the cruise about how my wife and I just have horrible singing voices, so we don't sing. But Jeff, who is all about singing, liked to tease me about that. He took a photo of us and had some fun by using artificial intelligence to imagine what it would be like if Kellen and I could sing.
I really can't stay.
Baby, it's cold outside.
I gotta go away.
But baby, it's cold outside.
This evening has been
hoping that you
so
dropped in.
very nice.
I'll hold your hands that just like
I roared with laughter when I first saw Jeff's little AI video, and I especially loved how the AI imagined me as such a very animated performer. The next day, Quantum of the Seas was back in Los Angeles for Disembarkation. And after shooting a few morning views of the Los Angeles World Cruise Center, we headed to LAX for our flight back up to Washington State. It was a beautiful day for flying, and the views of California from my window seat were pretty spectacular. I'm putting some links on the screen to some of my other videos you might like. Click on one of those links if you're in the mood to watch another video, or take a look in this video's description for links to all the karaoke performances. I'm Jim Zem. Thanks for watching.